Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and this will be my breakdown for episode 4 of Moon Knight. And what an incredible episode. That twist at the end was just so great. Now if you have read the comments, you're going to get an idea where the show is going in terms of the story. But it was a really great episode. Now let's start with the breakdown. Now Episode 4 of Moon Knight picks off where we left off, after Khonshu has gone ahead and messed with the sky so they can figure out where Ammit is located. Stephen Graham is left unconscious on the ground while Layla is trying to wake him up until she is attacked by a couple of Harrow's men. Thankfully, Layla is more than capable of taking care of herself, and then we fast forward to the location where they have learned that Ammit has been buried. And honestly, I'm going to be fast forwarding a lot because I just want to get to those last 10 to 15 minutes, because I definitely want just to sprinkle on that a couple of interesting things that happened to them before they actually go into the tomb. Is where we have a conversation, Steven and Mark Spector here, where Steven is kind of confused and upset that, like, when the powers were taken away, his tank will, Mark will disappear, and he could have his body back, but that wasn't the case. And I feel like this confirms that this version of Moon Knight has always had the dissociative identity disorder, and somehow he's just love with it, and without his other personalities knowing that they exist. Some of us thought that maybe this version of Moon Knight would just make it the ones the power of Moon Knight, and all of the other personalities were created to kind of cope with that. Now the other thing in this situation going on with Steven pulling on the moves of unmasked girl, I think this could actually be a very debatable topic that hopefully doesn't get too crazy morality speaking. It is okay for Stephen Grant to kiss as wife of Matt Spector when they are technically were in the same body, but they are different people. So I think that Lila likes the nice side of Mac, so she gravitates more to Steven because of that. Now Steven tells Lila that Mac is protecting her from Khonshu because Khonshu has his eye on her to be the next avatar for Moon. So Lila being upset that Mark spoke for her, but at the same, I feel that Mark is definitely doing Lila a favor. Now that our characters are finally inside the tomb trying to explore it and locate Ammit, we are treated to a couple of really creepy sequences involving this creature. This is the kind of stuff we'll have loved to see more throughout the Moon Knight show, because you kind of think that this is now episode 4 and we only have 2 episodes left. So where a person is literally being gone, it's kind of intense, and we remind ourselves that we've seen this in a Disney Plus shows. Now later confronts this creature to stop her with the bone of his own hand. A great thrilling sequence that is then interrupted by Harrow stepping in, where we got something that a lot of us saw coming a mile away. And once we find out that Lida's father was a clergy, and that that's the revelation. That at the same time, Matt Spector was going ahead and doing his mercenary work. He was one of the people responsible for the death of Lyda's father. It's even this direct that later led them to meet up and fall in love, where Mac could just never come to terms with telling her the truth because he fears that he may lose her. But Mac is fully aware that they just have no time to sit down and chat about this situation, that it needs to be explained a little later time, because this is when Harrow steps in, and not only does the master step in, he shot Mac Spector and has him fall to the ground, and we will believe that he's dying, following his body into a transition that at the beginning I had to admit that I was a little confused, where we looking at basically a ripper of Indiana Jones like movie, and it's revealed that the explorer on this movie is actually named Stephen Grant, and not he also have the British accent like the Stephen Grant that Oscar Isaac is playing. They have been following this entire time throughout the series. Now it's revealed that we actually located when the camera puts back in a mental asylum, and there are just Easter eggs go for every little small details and things that happens in the previous episode. Now before we explain what exactly is going on, this episode, this person right here holding the bingo ball is Crowley. Now the same person we saw painting as the ghost statue in the beginning of episodes, of Moon Knight. We saw background actors that have been bumping throughout the Moon Knight episodes. One holding a Rubik's Cube that we saw Stephen Grant play before bed. And if you look at one of the employees in the asylum, they're actually the cop that show up to Stephen Grant's doorstep. That ultimately turn out to be a follower of Harrow. Stephen Grant's boss, Donna, is also a patient here. Another worker at the hospital is heading up cupcakes, and in the first episode, Stephen and Mac are driving a van filled with cupcakes. We see a drawing that get much resemblance of the hair of Khonshu as well of Stephen's goldfish right in his line of view. Now, even though a lot of this stuff is connected, we saw this with Stephen Grant, and it's actually Matt Spector sitting and currently in control of the body. He's even friends with Lyda, who's also a patient in the hospital. And then when he tried to move off of the chair and falls to the ground, we see a Moon Knight toy. Now, let's explain this ending and use the comic book for comparison. Now, Jeff Lemire run, which featured Mac in a psycho hospital along with his side characters such as Crowley, who makes an appearance here, like I said. Now, you probably wanna know what happens in the book in order to understand what is going on here, and I'm just going to dive right into it. Now, in the comics, Mac is holed up in an asylum, which is overseen by Dr. Ammit, who is actually revealed to be Ammit. Her underlings are called Billy and Bobby, which just also happens to be the two policemen that we saw in episode 3, and that could be a reference to there also were jackets in the comics. Now, Ammit kept trying to convince Mouse that his entire life as Moon Knight was just a fantasy, that he's been here since he was 12 years old. However, visions of Khonshu came to him and told him that he has to remember who he was in order to put the pieces together. His fractured psyche donning a pilot case as a mask and a sheet as a costume. He fought his way off the asylum, which was revealed in fact to be an illusion located in a reality outside of time and space known as the Other Void. He'd been held prisoner there. Matt managed and his personality jumped to several realities to play out to our expectation. Now, Stephen Grant was a producer and was working on a show called Moon Knight. This show also featured Midnight Man, and it was switched completely when he became Jake. Jake was a cab driver who was suspected of a murder. There was also the Moon Knight personality. This was a sci-fi story featuring an astronaut called Moon Knight, and we will watch as he jumped between all of these to get to the bottom and who's behind it all. In the end, it was revealed that Khonshu was the one who orchestrated the entire thing, so he could fracture Mac's mind and take over his body. We discover that he has been watching him since he was a kid. Now, Mac's personalities all came together to crush his skull and once for all. Now, I think that the series will defy from this quite a lot because Khonshu, as we know, he's trapped in a stone. And then we get an appearance in this episode of Thor. Now, she never appeared in any of the issues, and the book will as much. Now, just about escaping the Other Void in the series, I think that we have Mark get it out because I think that I can see us figuring out that Khonshu constructed all of this instead of someone else. Maybe it was Harrow. Now, I think we'll likely follow Mac as he delves into his psyche, and we encounter a flashback to when he got his power and we finally made his parents that has been cast for the series. Now there's also a coven that I believe the other personality, the one that is called Jack Lockley. So that's it. That's incredible episode, and the performance and that victories at the end, so great. So that's my breakdown for episode 4 of Moon Knight. Let me know what you think in the episode in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Please consider subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. And thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.